Good morning, my dear friends. In a moment, it's going to be cold Zosia. So, as befits cold Zosia, you had to dress lightly. The last few days really have been like that. Colder, especially the nights are cold. In some regions of Poland, there was even frost already about 2-3 degrees below zero. Luckily, there's no frost where I am. At night, it's around 2 degrees, so I'm not too worried. But cold Zosia is always characterized by the fact that you have to be careful with what's in the garden and whether you need to cover it up. But that's not what today is about. Today I'm going to tell you about some plants that, in my opinion, are great for filling empty spots in flower beds. For the past 3 years, my dear friends, May has reminded me of a huge amount of work. I always have so much work in May that I can't even enjoy my own garden. And one of the reasons I can't enjoy my own garden is because I'm visiting your gardens. Listen, in just a moment, we'll be in the first garden as part of the Wow Garden project. The gardens have been chosen, everyone have been informed. So it's time to start visiting these gardens. Let us know if you're looking forward to the new edition, the Wow Garden Project edition, if you're waiting for new gardens. I promise that this year there will be different gardens again. There will be something really interesting again. And this year we'll show these gardens in a different way. We'll be showing, I think, more emotions if we manage to do it. So I encourage you to follow and watch our Wow Garden 2025 project. And to stay up to date with this project and to be the first to know when new episodes are out, there's nothing simpler. You just need to click subscribe if you haven't already and turn on the bell to get notifications about new videos. So it's time for the first plant that fills flower beds really well, especially those beds where you want a cream white color. I'm talking about Orlaya, which are like little dill plants, and once you introduce them to your garden, they'll stay for a long time because they self-seed really well. All you have to do is leave the seeds on the beds and they'll grow on their own. Orlaya, a great plant, really. Romantic, ethereal. It blooms in May along with the alliums. And that's exactly why I came to this place, to show you this combination. Purple rain allium looks great with the Aquilegia. It's amazing. Here I have Aquilegia, which appeared in this flower bed last year. So it's here for the second time, the second year. It actually self-seeded from just one little plant, from one little flower, so to speak. It spread quickly, so I transplanted some. I introduced it here to fill the space left when the alliums and tulips fade. Here are the tulips. The alliums are just starting to bloom, but their leaves are already dried and ugly. This blooms right now. And I'm testing it here. Look, this Orlaya looks nice. It won't bloom for very long because it's a plant that fades quickly. Later, you'll need to cut it back, but other plants will soon fill the space. Coming back to Orlaya. Orlaya is a biennial plant, so when it self-seeds, it will sprout in the fall and bloom the following year. If you start cutting it back, it will produce some more flowers, but it's not a plant that will bloom very strongly a second time. Its time is right now, so really for Mother's Day, sometimes it was still blooming at the beginning of June. This year it's earlier, despite cooler weather. It was warm before, so it grew. A fantastic plant for bouquets, especially those bouquets that cost $0. You just need to pick some branches, brew them, and use them. And actually, its romantic, ethereal vibe really comes through in bouquets as well. It's a plant that's not very demanding. In fact, I'd say it's not demanding at all. It will grow in many places. And as you can see, it looks really good. Later, when it starts to fade, these seeds appear from those umbels, just like with dill. And that also looks great. Some dislike it since it reminds them of autumn, signaling the end of May or start of June. I like it because then it spreads nicely, and besides, more plants grow here for me here. I have some grasses now and more will come later. I'll occasionally show you this flower bed since it's experimental. Orlaya, if you don't know it yet, be sure to see how great it looks in flower beds. Beautiful, attractive, heart-shaped leaves, and even more beautiful inflorescences. I'm really super proud of this plant this year. Why am I so proud? Well, because the snails didn't eat them. Normally at this time of year there's a snail invasion in the garden. Yeah, this year I don't have any snails. It's not even that there are just a few, there simply aren't any. They're just not there, and that's why Brunnera has stunning leaves. Usually the flower clusters would wither and the leaves had already been eaten by snails. This year the leaves are really great. That's why I decided to show you this plant, because it's a great plant to fill empty spots in your flower beds. It's especially in early spring, when the summer plants haven't grown yet, when there are no dahlias in the beds, that Brunnera shows its charm and beauty, its beautiful leaves and even more beautiful flower clusters, which, because it's cooler, last and stay on the plant much longer this year. A beautiful blue cloud of flowers, which are also very good for bouquets. Later the flowers should be trimmed. We cut them when they stop blooming and the leaves start to appear. The leaves then gain mass, they develop a better character, they become more strong in structure and they dominate the edges of the flower beds. Of course, there are really many varieties of Brunnera. In the classic varieties, they have these shiny gray-green silvery leaves in the center and are very good for brightening up a part of the flower bed. Somewhere where we have a little less sun, of course not a complete lack of sun, but just a bit less where it's a bit shady, Brunnera will work great, especially in those first spring months. Lately, I've been drawn to flowers in blue colors. We just talked about Brunnera, so now I've come to another blue plant, and I hope you don't know it yet. A plant that appeared in my garden, well, 2 years ago or maybe 3, I was warned that it freezes, as you can see, but that means it actually doesn't. I have 2 and even transplanted one in winter without issues. And this is a plant that's probably starting its 3rd season here, and it used to be just a single little stick, and it has grown so much. You might already know what plant this is, but if not, I'll tell you. This beautiful blue color, tiny little star-shaped flowers, fantastic. They look a bit like phlox, but like impoverished phlox, meaning a bit thinner. What's more, when you tear off a leaf, you see white sap here. So it looks like something from the Euphorbiaceae family. So what is it? This is Amsonia gorska. Listen, it spreads fantastically. It fills the flower bed and gives this blue color together with the alliums, together with Brunnera. It's taller than Brunnera, shorter than the alliums, and it looks really spectacular. Not like our native plants. It's a flower that looks really exotic. I remember this flower as a cut plant when during floristry classes in floristry school, during the master florist course, we got this plant to identify what it was. We racked our brains back and forth, all these smart florists, and no one knew what it was. And then we found out. For a few years I had it in the back of my mind it would show up as a cut flower, but when I saw that you could buy it for the garden, I didn't think twice. I just got it. It works great in sunny spots, it's not demanding, and it doesn't get any diseases. It may not bloom for a very long time, but that's how it is. If something blooms for a short time but is really spectacular, it really pleases the eye. I can already see that even on these stems, side shoots are appearing, so if you pinch off the main flower heads, it might produce a few more and extend its blooming period a little. As I mentioned, it also works well in bouquets, so if we arrange it, it will look beautiful too. Today I became interested in plants that not only fill flower beds, but also work well as bouquet fillers. Let me know if you knew about Amsonia montana in this form, or if you have it in your garden, and if you don't, I encourage you to get it because it's really rare to find such a blue color in the garden. It's not common and it's in its pure form. And the next plant, many of you surely know this one because it's been a really trendy plant in recent years. This is catnip, but I wanted to talk about it because now is the time to do a certain procedure so it will bloom more, though honestly it's already a bit late for this. Normally it's done around Mother's Day, the so-called Chelsea chop, and it's well before Mother's Day and my catnip is already blooming. Maybe not everywhere and not all varieties, but my catnip is blooming. Catnip is a fantastic plant for filling spaces, empty spaces in flower beds. Besides that, it spreads really well and fills up the whole flower bed, as you can see here among all these plants. It grows up really well and creates a beautiful, delicate cloud above those plants that are still below. And where would I plant it? I'll tell you in a moment. Where will this catnip work? Of course, depending on the variety, whether it's a low or tall variety, it will work well in different places, but I especially plant catnip where I have a lot of tulips. Because when the tulip fades and I deadhead it, it's, let's say, not very attractive, and that's when catnip comes to the forefront. It sends out its beautiful long slender stems that actually cover all those leaves that naturally dry up from the tulips. I also plant catnip with stipa because there is stipa here. When I trim the catnip, because I'll be trimming it soon, then the stipa comes to the forefront, and before the catnip starts blooming for the second time, the stipa will already be on par with it. That's when you get this great effect, this great combination, this super combo, catnip and stipa. It really looks very, very good. Planting low-growing catnip along flower bed edges is worthwhile. For plants that fill the empty spaces in my flower beds and are blooming right now. That's why I talked about them, because they're already blooming. Of course, there are plenty of other plants that fill in beautifully, and that's exactly my question for you. Which plants and seasons make your flower beds look their best? Let me know in the comments. Write something like, I don't know, July is filled by this, April is filled by that. Write such a list. Maybe new topics to record will come up, and of course I'll immediately reply to your comments and record such an episode for you. Soon, as I mentioned, I invite you to the first episode of the WOW Garden Project. I can't wait to meet the new participants of the WOW Garden Project and show you these beautiful gardens and the emotions that are in these gardens and in the people who create their own WOW garden.